Alright, Panther fans, so more updates on all this injury situation. Gudas confirmed also was in the concussion protocol. Now, they did not put him on LTIR, but Hornquist is obviously, that cleared up the space to bring up. We know they brought up Tierney already on emergency, but then yesterday they brought up Kiersted and Zach Dalpe, who I was a fan of. Stu and I both liked him during the preseason, and then the kid got knocked around, looked like he had a concussion. He's been tearing it up at the AHL level, so it'll be nice to see him come up. And if he plays well, I'd like to see him find a way to stick. One of these kids needs to stick. I know Dalpe's not a kid, but we're going to need reinforcements. So it's good to see him get a call up. So no Barkov, no Hornquist, obviously, and Lundell's not going to play. So that's going to put all three of the call-ups in the lineup with Heponiemi, Tierney, and Dalpe. So a quarter of our lineup in terms of forwards is going to be call-ups. And then Kiersted gets called up for Gudas. We didn't call anybody else up. I thought maybe they would call up an extra defenseman in case somebody gets hurt and, and warn us or whatever it is. Otherwise, we're in a situation where if anybody else gets dinged before the game, we don't have anybody up to replace them, and then we'd have to call somebody else up. So I'm surprised that they didn't bring Del Zotto up to just have him. He's a veteran guy, so if he sits for a week and a half on the bench while Gudas is out, hopefully that's all it's going to take. But we didn't for whatever reason, so it is what it is. No word on the goaltending situation just yet. I've checked everybody, and we don't have anything. I'm sure they're going to have some sort of practice today, even if it's just a morning skate. We'll probably learn more. But that's disappointing, though, to hear both. I mean, we had to suspect that that's what happened to Gudas. That's a tough one. I don't know what his concussion history is, but Murray said there's no timetable for either guy. And, that's his game. Although he's not the same player as he was, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean, he plays a much more solid stay-at-home style. He's shown a little bit of offensive ability this season. He's not as much knocking people around and as much as he was in his younger days. But we definitely need to see him come back and be the same player he was before this concussion, because we have to take into consideration whether we're going to extend him or not, because he does not have a contract for next season. And looking at the roster in Charlotte, at least, we don't have anybody with any size that's really going to take. The biggest defenseman we have is 6'1". That's the biggest guy we have, and I know Gudas isn't the biggest guy either, but if we don't re-sign Gudas, we're going to need to replace that toughness probably through free agency. So it's going to be important to see him come back healthy and be the same player he was, because he was really playing well. I was looking forward to maybe seeing an extension before the end of the season. He plays on a relatively cheap contract for a veteran, and he's really played well. He's really looked good with Mahura. So more than anything, I want to see him come back. Now, Barkov, they say he's recuperating, but I agree with this move. I see some people kind of complaining about it on Twitter. That would be just stupid. The guy was sick for that length of a period. You don't put him on a plane to play a game to get back on the plane and come home. We'll be absolutely fine. I know it's a bummer that Lundell was out too, but we just beat the Kraken, 5-1, 6-1, whatever the hell the score was. We just beat the hell out of the Kraken without both of those guys, so we'll be okay. I think you're going to see a good game from Tierney, and I think you're going to see a good game from Dalpe, because I don't think these guys want to go back down, right? And look, if these guys come up and start playing well, and we have depth, and we're winning games, I think Patrick Hornquist just needs to just rest, man. This is the second issue he's had this year. I think just leave him on LTIR until the playoffs. It would be the safest, smartest thing for the guy. He's 34 years old. And let some of these other kids come in and get used to playing. And that's what... I don't want Patrick Hornquist to be hurt, don't get me wrong. But at the same point, it's just funny, man, how this all worked out. Because all we kept saying was, well, what we need is Hornquist to get hurt and go to LTIR. That wasn't exactly what we had in mind, right? You have to kind of be careful what you wish for. don't want head injuries, right? It should have just been, oh, my knee's twisted and I can't quite get right. So we still want to see him come back and play well. We're going to need him if we're going to make any kind of playoff run. So, all right, short and sweet this morning. We should be good to go for the stream tonight. Game starts at 8, right? So the stream is going to start a half hour before that. It should start at 7:30. All right, appreciate all the support. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys again tonight.